Hello everybody, welcome to Slay the Spire, playing as the Watcher on Ascension 1. I've already taken a peek at the map, so I do want to take the Lament here, because we are able to snipe an elite. We do have the option of taking 3 elites this route. We wouldn't be able to snipe that way. But here we have a lot of question marks, campfire before, so we'll be able to snipe that, and then this route has extra campfires. Oftentimes when I'm playing the Watcher, I favor campfires almost as much as elites, because this tends to be a class that likes to have a good amount of upgrades. So let's get into it. Alright, don't have to think about these guys. First add, alright. Protect, not bad, not what we're trying to do at this stage in the game. Crescendo, similarly, I don't know that we need a second way of entering Wrath. Paying 1 energy and a whole card draw just to be able to enter Wrath, not bad later on. Right now it's kind of bad. I would rather take this. It's more damage per energy than what we have access to, and has the weak component. Nice! Okay, so normally I would just jump on the upgrade to get Eruption down to 1. However, I really like the idea of being able to remove a defend for something that's almost certainly going to be better than a defend. Like Lesson Learned. Holy crap, are you serious? Floor 2, Lesson Learned. Wow. That's kind of going to be deck defining for the early game. Do note that it is a poor exchange of energy for damage, but then we get to upgrade our cards outside of... I don't know what's going on with the audio. It's on, and in my mixer it's not muted. I do have to mute it sometimes. I leave the software running all the time, so I think that might be why. Ooh, we can offer up a defend. Nice. Yeah, with that's great. Yeah, I have to mute the game when it's in the background sometimes, though, because there's this like whooshing noise, you know, because you're climbing a spire. So I think it's meant to be flavor background noise. Do we take 11 damage to the face just to be able to upgrade a card? I'm thinking yes. This feels like a very good start thus far. The fact that the deck is 10 means we know for sure it's going to be in our next hand. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Which kind of is unfortunate, because that means the moment we enter an 11 card deck, we don't have that certainty any longer. So there we go. Upgraded strike. That's too bad too, because without the audio of the triple hammer strike, it's not as rewarding. Alright, Empty Fist is a very good pick here. Flying Sleeves, I could take or leave it under any circumstances. If it was a floor 1 pick and there was nothing better, I'd take it, but this is just strictly better, flat out, and then the upgrade is pretty bonkers too. And of course it exits our stance, which either gets us out of Wrath once we get away from these 1 HP fights, or drops Calm and gets us some energy. So this shop, we cannot afford the Brilliance. Not entirely sure I'd buy it if we could. Second Empty Fist would probably be excessive. We don't want to be... We want to be able to drop stance, but not like every time we go to attack something. So I guess we take out another defend, and now we're back to a 10 card deck, which has its advantages. Very cool. Definitely Eruption first. There could be an argument made for Lesson Learned to extend its reach, but obviously entering Wrath extends its reach by a greater factor. So we'll do Eruption first. I tend to prioritize the casting cost upgrades anyways. Gremlin Knob gets sniped, but not this turn. So it is nice knowing that we'll be able to do it next turn, so we don't have to take any damage. Yep, there we go. Alright, so being down to 1 defend, I suppose it's a good thing that it's a defend plus, in case that's something we feel like doing at some point. I'm starting to wake up to how awesome Scry is, so this card is appealing, especially since we pulled back our defends. However, Fear No Evil cannot be understated. In fact, we already have an Empty Fist. So if an enemy is attacking us, Fear No Evil brings us into calm. Empty Fist takes us out of the stance, which gives us 2 energy. So it's an energy neutral combo. So that's really great. I think we absolutely have to take that. That's a very good early pick anyways. And perhaps even a middle game pick, I would say. I shouldn't make statements like that. I'm not that knowledgeable in the game yet. Alright, so yeah, we'll take the lesson learned, extend its reach, make it more reliable so that we can keep this train going. Horn Cleat, very good. Okay, so yeah, we took out some defense, but we got a defend plus. Now we have a Horn Cleat, so we're not going to be totally naked here. Before Empty Fist, I think I want to do Sash Whip. The extra weak also complements the lack of defense fairly well. Okay, this is, I believe, the last of our easy fights, quote unquote. So we'll just do the damage that we can here. Now we don't know for sure that we'll have lesson learned. Okay, let's see, 9, and then 26, yep. So 33 is a number I'm going to have to keep in my head. Alright, get the Ancient Potion. Nothing we can exploit with that just yet. All of this is just more of the same. Follow-up's not bad, but right now I think the compact deck size is more relevant. Lesson learned is now just picked up Vigilance, so our commitment to survivability while removing defense is commendable. I just think keeping the deck size down, this doesn't give us the kind of reach that we really would need, especially with such specialized cards like Empty Fist and Fear No Evil. Give us opportunities to play games. Alright, so with lesson learned here, we're not going to fight it until 2 turns from now. It's possible for this class to have Lagavulin ready by then, although without a supporting potion, maybe not. I don't know. I do know that we have a Horn Cleat, and this just got upgraded to 2 weeks, so I think we ought to wake him up this turn. I will definitely make sure I fix that audio. Yeah, he can't touch us. Unless we were to enter Wrath. And we don't know if lesson learned is going to be in our next hand or the turn after. So I think we need to play as if it's going to be in our hand next turn. So let's just do the damage we can. Yeah, we're going to take some damage, but thanks to the Horn Cleat, it's manageable. In fact, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Okay, so 42. The Wrath is 26 on the lesson learned. Uh-oh. So we need something that's 18 or 14, 16? What am I doing here? 16. Okay. This works, I think. Yes. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Empty Fist becomes a powerhouse now. Sweet. Oh, and Orchal. Look at this. We take out our defense, and what happens? Defend plus, Horn Cleat, Vigilance plus, and now Orichalcum. So, yeah, we got quite a bit of survivability for stripping out 3 defense. I think this is a skip. I think our deck is running too reliably for this right now. It's an interesting proposition, though. And keep the deck lean if possible. Alright, our favorite combo has returned. We just gotta make sure we don't overkill this guy. Or kill him, I should say. We have 2 energy left. That's cool. He is just ready for us to find. And thanks to the Orichalcum, we only take 3 damage this turn. Pretty sweet. Yes. I think part of the reason why I'm willing to take these liberties with our health is because it's Slime Boss, and we're going to have like 2 free turns anyways. Okay, indignation. When I first started playing Watcher, one of my first goals was to find another way to enter Wrath and find a way to apply vulnerability. And so I had a couple runs off camera where I got indignation early, and most of the time it was only entering Wrath, and it always felt bad having a whole card draw and spending an energy just to enter Wrath. So I think I'd rather go with the Crush Joints over the indignation. If we already had a Crush Joints, then I'd feel better about this because this would act as a Crush Joints activator. So even if we did just enter Wrath, we'd still get the vulnerable. It should be noted this is AoE vulnerable. Also, we do have the lessons learned, or lesson learned, whereas this upgrades nicely. This one's kind of a crap upgrade. It's helpful later having 5 vulnerable instead of 3. But I think I'd rather have the Crush Joints first, even though the Crush Joints is common and the indignation is uncommon. Hey, it's our favorite combo again, which might be nice because Lesson Learned is a little energy hungry for what it does. 13, 19, sure. There we go. Now notice it exhausts. So even though it's a multi-target fight, we can only pull it off once. And it also said that Fear No Evil was upgraded, but you can see here it's not. And that's because we entered the fight with a specific deck. So we have to actually pass this fight to be able to enjoy our upgraded card. Since this is the first fight we encountered that, I thought I would elucidate that because I had to figure that out the hard way. I was like, wait a minute, you said this was upgraded. There we go. I think this has been an amazing Act 1, and because we had the Lament, it's been very quick, too. Okay, so I do think 2 Crush Joints might be excessive, and going back to what I was just saying about Indignation, I feel very similarly about this card early on, as I already pointed out earlier. But now that we have a little bit of oomph, and because we have a Crush Joints, which requires a skill to activate, yes, this is nice, but this is even nicer, you could say, because anytime I've done the math, applying the vulnerable before the eruption does more damage than eruption, and then like miracle for Crush Joints and going from there. Whereas here we wouldn't have to make that call. This would be a skill, so it would activate the Crush Joints, which would be applied while we're in Wrath, so it does the more damage. So yeah, now I think Crescendo's a good pick. We also have to pay close attention to our balance of Calm and Wrath. We don't want to be stuck in a situation where we can't exit Wrath when we need to. So right now we have 2 Calm and 1 Exit and only 1 Wrath. So I think this is fine. These are kind of fun later if we get more card draw, because they basically upgrade to 0 and exiting Calm gives you 2 energy. So that's a fun little energy generation. But I don't think our card draw is there. I'm only taking this because we already have the Crush Joints and we have enough oomph and stance balance that I think taking this fits. Alright, so what do we smith here? Big fan of the casting cost ones, but I think we gotta go with the extended vulnerable. Obviously, debuffs don't carry over on the slimes when they split, but in the opening we do have a couple of turns. And sometimes when they go down to medium, or even the small ones. Well, maybe the small ones are a bad example because we would just probably smoke them anyways, but the added turn of vulnerable might come in handy even in this fight. And this is a very interesting fight with regards to Lesson Learned. Forcing a split is not the same as killing. I suppose it's a good time, like even on like Gremlin Leader, I've noticed that the little gremlins, if you kill them with a Lesson Learned, because I did get the card once before, that's why I knew it was so good. This time, it doesn't seem to count, like they're summons, so it doesn't count as fatal, even though, as you saw in that one fight, if we have a multi-target fight, lethal will actually trigger it. So I don't know what the deal is there, if that's like as intended or what, but I thought I'd mention that mechanic. We'll go ahead and use the miracle just to enable that. So this is actually why I wanted to do the upgrade. I'm glad it paid off here. Okay, so he's right on the threshold, for better or worse. Usually by the end of 2 you want to be like right on the threshold so that when it's go time you can just push through. Okay. Well, we can't use all our energy here, but this is the last time we absolutely cannot use lesson learned. So I think we just go ahead and push in what we can here. And I will go ahead and play the defend. I know it seems like what is he doing that for? But we have a crushed joints in the deck, so if you can end your turn on a skill, then that means if you draw the crushed joints, you just get to play it. Yeah, we could have just drawn it here, but no such luck. And that's fine. So, it looks like we get to just kill this guy, which is nice because we definitely don't want to receive the debuff that makes us weaker. We want to make it to where when we get the lesson learned, we can actually properly calculate how to dispense it. In fact, it's just 26 and this is 23. So there we go. That was a hell of an Act 1, I say. Gambler's Brew. Alright, drum roll please. This is the downside to playing Watcher. Their rare pool is so varied. Omniscience is a great card. Like, in a vacuum, probably the best card here, if not one of the best rares of the class. Our deck is very small, and our energy generation isn't there yet. So, realistically, what we would be using Omniscience for would be to lesson learned is in the deck, and we want to fetch it. That's kind of a problem because I don't think you get to choose your target. I know when you have Distilled Chaos, you don't get to pick your targets. And that might not be a problem because being double, you know, we have like 2 chances. So maybe they're at 25 and the first one goes off, no such luck. Second one, fatal, so it upgrades. Who knows, maybe if it was a multi-target fight and we had both of them within lesson learned range and we omniscienced it, maybe we'd get 2 upgrades. I don't know. I don't know that we need it either because you can see here we're only missing 2 upgrades plus whatever card we choose if we choose one. Ragnarok, obviously big damage in one card, and sometimes that's useful. I'm thinking like along the lines of the 3 Centuries fights. You get a bunch of dazed in your deck and you can only play the one card. Having a lot of power wrapped up into one card makes a lot of sense. The exchange rate here unupgraded is pretty bad actually. Upgraded though, it's quite nice because both the frequency and the amount, so it goes up to 36 damage for 3 energy, which is fair. It's not bad. We can kind of already achieve this already with cards that cost 1 energy, so we can pick and choose. Do we only have the energy to devote 1 for an attack? Whereas right now Ragnarok's kind of an all-in. I don't think we have the deck to support Ragnarok right now. Judgment I like as a concept. I'm thinking like baseball in Act 2 because it has it can have like 50 armor but only has 20 hit points. This just says goodnight. Or like those balloons in Act 3 that have like thorns and you can't really attack them. Those probably won't be as big of a... I think normally they're kind of a headache trying to figure out how to safely kill them on the Watcher because we don't have things like poison or like orb passive damage which don't trigger them. But we do have the Horn Cleat, which means we can ignore those balloons on turn 1 and then... But like something with Ragnarok, we wouldn't be able to. That's the other thing. That's the main reason I don't want to take Ragnarok, because it's all random. And we're trying to end fights with lesson learned. And because we're trying to end fights with lesson learned, I think that values Judgment even less. So I actually think this is a skip. We've done a really good job of keeping the deck small. It functions extremely well. We have 2 Wrath entries, 2 Calm entries, a Cancel, 1 Vulnerable, 1 Weak. And then, of course, the lesson learned. Very small deck, very reliable. I think if I was to take any of these, it would be Omniscience, because it's the only one that plays into what the deck's capable of already. I'm just worried that it's going to be a dead card most of the time. And we don't have enough card draw to be able to stomach to abide a dead card like that. Now, we are entering a point where we're going to have more fights with 2 and 3 targets, so In those situations, Judgment's not going to be in competition with Lesson Learned. Also, Judgment doesn't exhaust, so if it's like a 3 or 4, like we can just judge a couple of them. So I would hate to skip, although as thin as our deck is, it's quite kind of nice. But I think that is the call here. I definitely look forward to hearing your comments down below. And I know I'm going to get them because, look, here is Snecko Eye. So if we knew we were getting Snecko Eye, that would make the Ragnarok a little more valuable. Lesson learned. We don't have any zero cost yet. We know this will become one. Snecko Eye, the whole randomized is a function of the game I just don't enjoy. I don't find it fun. I'm old-fashioned, and I think, you know, I'm still kind of new to the game, so I'm learning like what everything costs, what the numbers are, what they deal, what the, you know, like I didn't know Vigilance did 12 when it's upgraded. I've never had one upgraded before, so my brain's working to remember stuff like that. And the Snecko thing throws it right out the window. Now I'm fully aware that this is the strongest relic in the game. The draw 2 offsets that most of the time. I've tried it off camera, and yeah, you have some crappy turns, but then you also have, on average, greater throughput as a result of having this. So I recognize the value of this. However, we did get Lesson Learned on floor 2. And look, almost all of our deck is upgraded. We're missing 2 upgrades. So I think this, I usually hate this card because I love smithing, and this is a class that needs it. But if ever there was a time where there's no downside not being able to smith, this is it. So I just want to take this one. And I apologize if that makes the run a little less entertaining. I don't like the... This can be a complex class to parse in your head as you're playing out turns, trying to do things in the right order. And this would just complicate that way more than I'm comfortable with. I don't find that fun. So pardon me while I take this. This would be my personal choice. I do understand that Snecko Eye is better. That's it for Act 1. I hope you're enjoying it. We've had a hell of a start, even if I did have to pass on 2 things there at the end. Please leave your comments below. I am interested in hearing them, and I'll see you in the next act. Take care.